CIT 1121 Packet Tracer Instructional Video 237. I don't think there's any points in this one, but it's not a bad lab to go through just in case you have to set up a console cable. And in this day and age that we can't get into the classroom at all, and you can't do this physically, practicing it through an online system is not that bad of a deal. So first things first, going to connect PC1 to the switch using the console cable. Remember, when we use a console cable, we're going to use RS-232. We're not going to use TCP/IP. We're using a different scheme for passing those packets back and forth to each other. It's easy to do, but the connections are a little bit different. The cables are similar, RJ45 jacks and twisted pair wire. But we do use console cable is actually what's called a rollover cable. So the pinouts are exactly the opposite on each end. So to go ahead and connect that up, we just go PC1, give that a click, and we're going to go into RS-232. That would be a 9-pin serial adapter on the back of your computer, or a USB to 9-pin serial adapter that you might purchase in case you don't have a 9-pin serial adapter on your computer, which most computers don't have anymore. So place we're going to go ahead and put that on the switch. We're going to plug it right in the console. We now have the ability to make a console connection from the PC over to the switch. So that's the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do, and that's squared up, and I think we're good there. Second thing we're going to do, open up that terminal session, look at that command line interface. So from PC1, we're going to head over to desktop, and then from desktop, there's a whole bunch of different applications that you can use here. One of them is called Terminal, and this is your hyper-terminal emulation product. So it says, open the terminal emulator application. So in a desktop environment, this would be PuTTY or it would be TerraTerm. For Packet Tracer, though, it's just called Terminal. It's no big deal. It's like Command Line, but it's a little different because you're using RS-232 to connect to another device. When we go to the Command Line, we're actually looking at a CLI for our local device. But this is going to connect us to a different device. There are some settings that need to be configured. The bits per second, the data bits, the parity, the stop bits, flow control. You can memorize these, 9600, 8, none, 1, none, which is fine. Or you can just go with the defaults. The defaults that are listed with this are totally workable. Choose OK, and look at that. We're now at the command line of the switch, which gets us down into the iOS help section of this particular lab. And we start working on help. In Cisco, our best friend is the question mark. So if we just go to our prompt here and just do a question mark, it'll show us all of the commands that are available at any given prompt. And those commands will be different depending on which level you are at, privilege level you're at of the operating system. So right now, you are at the user exec mode. And we want to go in, we can see the things that we can do here. And there's not a whole lot, but if we go to privileged exec mode by putting in enable, en for enable, we can do a question mark again, and you can see there's a lot more stuff we can do in privileged mode than we could have done in user mode. The next thing that they mention about the question mark is this: if you want to type in a command for whatever, you can just start typing in the word. So if you're not sure, maybe you want to type a command that starts with the letter T, type in T and then question mark with no spaces. It'll show you all the commands that start with the letter T. If you put in, say, enough characters that it's unique, like if I go to TER, then that will tell the operating system that I've typed in enough. It knows I want terminal at this point because it's the only thing that starts with TER. And if there's something, and I'm just going to hit TER and hit enter, and I'm going to get incomplete command. So that what I can do here is now I'm going to go TER again. That means that there's another command after terminal. So I'm going to do TER space question mark, and it'll show me what I can put in after TER. So history, monitor, or no are all commands that I could use with terminal. So I could do terminal history, terminal monitor, so on and so forth. So let's TER, and then since history is the only one that starts with H, I can type in H here. Oh man, it's still incomplete. So TRH space, question mark, and then size of the buffer, we can type in size, space, question mark, 0 to 256, let's say 100, and I've completed that command finally. So give you an example of when you can use the question mark. So if you put it next to a letter, it'll show you all the commands that start with that letter. If it's a multiple word command, you can do a space in the question mark and you'll see the options for the next word possible. And that's exactly what they do in this lab when they take you through terminal and you get into config mode, and then they send you down and then you go into the clock. And then with the clock, you have the ability to set the clock. And it's a really nice little exercise where they just step you through how to use the question mark at the bottom of this particular lab. Okay, so you can walk through that on your own. There's no big deal on that. I think we've gotten through what I wanted to get through. The only other thing that I didn't mention here was using the tab key. So let's just talk about that for a second. So we had typed in TE, so TER for terminal, TER for terminal. If I hit tab at this point, it will give me the whole word terminal here. So if I want it to complete a command that I don't want to type all the letters in for, I can just get it to a unique place and then hit tab and it'll show me the whole command in case you wanted to see the whole command. I think it's enough for 237, and we'll catch you in the next video.